you. I am hoping that we do not have a failure of the power today because that's what happened last week and I had to cut out. It was just ridiculous. It was fireworks night last week and this week it is not. It is Remembrance Sunday. So I'm not going to be doing a minute's silence. I've done a minute's silence earlier and you can do one too if you want as you're watching. But yes, obviously this is the day that we remember those that have come before. So that's obviously a serious subject. Okay, well, moving on. I didn't buy a poppy because I kept bringing I forgot to. I had the money and then they got sold out by the time I got there. That's not an excuse, that's a reason. So, sorry about that. But I remember it's that. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Now I'm like, I've scuppered myself now. My foot. Hello, how are you? Did you get your second box, Michelle, yet? Has it come yet? As I detailed in my last video, my mystery box went missing. Far away, they delivered it to the wrong place. But I got it in the end. But Michelle, who is in the live chat here, she ordered 2 boxes and one of them hasn't come at all. So there you go. It's I'm not sure whether I'm going to get any more of those because the last one was a little bit disappointing. It was somebody said they preferred the stuff that was in it than the stuff that I got that I'd actually expecting. Yeah, you think? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I could be. It's hit and miss, isn't it? I would contact them though. Really, I would contact them, email them, because they did get back to me apologising for mine going missing, even though it turned up in the end. Didn't actually turn up at the end. I had to run down with my bad ankle, run down looking for it, and as I said in my video, I took it from somebody else's doorstep and had to then just justify it. It's like, I'm not stealing it. It is actually my parcel that has been inadvertently left in your porch. Anyway. They understood. Yeah, that could have ended quite badly though. Yes, it's not really. I'm just like, that I deserve an apology for that. I think definitely. But anyway, my foot. I was just saying, my foot feels a little bit better today. Although there's a few twinges still. I've just there. I wrapped it all up again, and I'm hoping for the best. It's okay. It's all right. Hello, Philip. So 3 people, right? It says there's only one person. It says there's only one person, and there's 3 people. So it's just all over the place. But at least I can see chat this time. I couldn't see it the last time, and I think what happened was last Sunday when I did the live stream, I knocked off the chat when the power went, and then it didn't come back on again, and I wondered why. But it's thank you for the 2 likes as well. So. Yeah, yesterday there was an interesting thing that the secret project is Frizz Frizzle had leaked the new Adele album. I say leaked. If you watch it, anyway, I contributed to that. He wasn't very. He said that mine. I basically wrote a song in about a minute. I was like, I can't remember what Adele sounds like, but he asked his friend to send him songs based on the leaked titles of the songs in the new album, and then pretended that they were the real thing. And I can spoil it now because it's gone. But all the Adele fans in the world were up in arms and contacting Adele, the Adele fan club, and saying, "Stop this man! Stop this person! They're doing bad things! Stop them! Stop them!" I think he's a them, Rob. I think they're a them. Pronouns. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. That's very dismissive, isn't it? I'm just like easily confused. I'm so easily confused. I just need to get back on track now. What was I saying? Adele. No. I don't know what she sounds like, basically. I was like, I know there's a song called Chasing Pavements, but I was like saying, don't go chasing pavements, get back to the rivers and the lakes that you... That's not the same song, It's, yeah. Anyway, I wrote this song in about a minute, including looking up what Adele actually sounded like. And then I tried to do an Adele voice and it didn't come out very well. It's a bit out of key and off key and out of tune, because yes, exactly, it's a chasing, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was just, you can hear it if you, it is complete, but they reverberated it, and I'm like, but it sounded better when on my phone than it did in the live stream, and I think they said that it sounded like Adele had polyps at the time. It was like, and that it was rubbish. That was his review, and I'm like, okay, thank you very much. That was the review, that it's rubbish. Anyway, I was a little bit by that. I was like, okay, fair enough. I don't know. I know it only took me 2 minutes, but you know, even when you put minimal effort into something, you expect it to be not, yeah, maybe I'm the sort of person that does put very little effort into something and then still expect it, even though I go, oh, it's terrible, I still expect people to respect and enjoy it. Maybe that's a bit backwards of me, really. I shouldn't really be doing that. I should put more effort into things, really. But then, that's the trouble. Like, if I put a lot of effort and I was like, this is the best thing ever, and I told people, yes, I think I'm very pleased with that, and they still said, no, that's terrible, then I would be devastated. So maybe it's best that I put minimal effort into something, and then people say it's rubbish, because then I'm like, I'm going to be disappointed anyway. They're still going to say it's rubbish, even if I think it's amazing. So basically, I know that everything that I ever do is rubbish, and people are going to say it's rubbish, even though I secretly think that it's really great and everyone should appreciate it. It's a very tortured sort of complicated thing about my output. I want people to like stuff that I do, even if I say that it's terrible. I don't really think it's terrible, because I've got an ego the size of a planet, and I think everything I do is amazing, but I also am aware that everybody will think that it's terrible. So I sort of cushion myself by going, this is terrible, hoping that they'll go, no, it's really good, it's all right. And they never do. So yeah. Meh. No, the more effort I put into something, usually it still gets dissed, so what's the point? I did win an award for that, that's true. But that only took me a day. I mean, I'd written the poem well in advance of that, but the actual film, I got home from work, I was in a mood, I filmed it based on a poem that I'd already written. I filmed it and I edited it and I uploaded it, and somebody said, that's really good, you should enter competitions, it's better than you think. I'm like, yay. And then I did, and I got into a couple of film festivals with that. Actually, it was in a Paris film festival as well. But yeah, I did get an award for Vestal Virgin, and I have had prizes for stuff, but generally I do stuff and I think that's really good, but I'm like, oh, is anyone going to think that? And then they usually don't, even though I think it is. So, you try to cushion the blow for yourself, really, with it. I don't know, maybe that's just me. So, yeah, because it's like, I've been doing YouTube for like 16 years now, and I expected at this point to be having hundreds of thousands of people watching, but it's not like I put an awful lot of effort into it. But if I did, I'd still, people, I've got, I think, just over 4,000 subscribers, which after this amount of time is pretty pitiful, really. That's terrible. It's like, I'm not doing anything. We've all got awfully old, yeah, exactly. Pitiful. Talking of which, I'm completely, I'm so old. I've got vacations. That's not the word that I'm looking for. Vaccinations everywhere. I've had 150 vaccinations. I've had all the vaccinations in the world. That's every single one of them now. I'm all protected as long as I don't go out anywhere. 16 years, I know. 2006. Shocking. So, but I tell you what, a young lad that watched one of my videos and then said, hey, you've got the same haircut as you had in your first videos. I'm like, this person wasn't even alive in my first videos, were first made. Wasn't even alive, but he's the magic of the internet. It's like, I've got the same haircut as I had in my very first YouTube video. It's like, yes, I've gone back in time. I am that person. I'll just forget about that 16 years. Why don't I try film producing and screenwriting? Aha, thank you very much for that interesting. Yes, it's not like I haven't tried all these things, but I've been an abject failure in every single thing that I've done. I was sending out screenplays that I wrote when from the age of 16, I was like, if I start at 16, then maybe when I'm a grown up, if I start early, then I've got a head start, and then I'll get a good career and then I'll be successful. Now, that's a long time ago, but I did start sending things out at 16. I started writing things at 16 and sending them out, all sorts of screenplays, and I sent them to, do you remember Michael White? Not alive anymore. I think he produced Comic Strip Presents and actually the Rocky Horror Picture Show and various other things. And I sent something to him and I sort of sent a comic, what I thought was a funny letter along with it, which in retrospect was terrible. And I got a phone call from his secretary telling me not to contact him again. And then my mother had a go at them for being mean to a 16-year-old. I was like, oh gosh, really? That's not very nice, is it? I wouldn't say that. Okay, but Pop, yeah, that was a notification from an app that is actually called Pop Slot, which it's like a little play. Like, I've got I'm very bad with slot machines. So I'm like, if I see a slot machine, I have to play it. So like, these are free ones that I don't have to pay any money for, so that I can get the sort of slot machine addiction in a safe way. But you can actually get points that are supposed to be, you actually got real life points from this that you can use at various places around the world, but they're mainly cruises and places in Australia and America. They used to have one where you could get like a meal at the Hippodrome in London, but that has gone from there. I mean, I was like, one day I'll use my points and I'll get a meal in the Hippodrome in London, which was on the corner of Leicester Square. But then they don't have that anymore, so I can't get that. Yeah, you won an award, isn't that enough for me to... No, it's not, because it's like I've tried and I've tried and I failed and I failed and I've tried and I've tried and I failed and I failed. And you know, when people say, I've papered the walls with, it's like I could paper the walls with rejection slips. And so I actually got an invitation to submit something, because a couple of years ago I wrote a little bit for I think the Directors Club, and that was at the Southwark Playhouse, and I was really happy about that. You can see, I mean, I filmed it, somebody filmed it on their phone, and I had to subtitle it to put it on YouTube because the sound is so bad. I mean, this person's phone must have been the worst possible phone, because they were there and the actors were right in front and you can't hear it. It's just ridiculous and very bad vision, very bad. So, but it is on YouTube. Anyway, they sent me an email saying that they want anyone. They usually they usually open it up to everyone in the world to send them stuff, but they wanted to do it with people that they've worked with before. But the trouble with that is they don't actually pay people. So I'm like, okay, no. So it was nice and it was an honour and I was very flattered, but because they're also like, the writers don't have to come to see the rehearsal. It's like, okay, what's in it for me then? Nothing. Did I get anything from that? No. Sorry, it's a children's market, did you say? What? Young? Well, I don't know, because I started as a young person trying to get into things and nothing happened. And I was like, when I'm a grown-up, people will respect me. No, I'm not going to work for free. I'd work for free. I'm not doing any of that nonsense anymore. Fair. I've done plenty of working for free. I say that, I'm like quite aware that I have worked for free in the last week. But I'm trying not to do that. It's very difficult because you're like, well, there's a balance between creating. So people are, oh, you're not a proper artist unless you do some stuff for free. It's like, I would argue you are a proper artist if you don't do things for free. But, sometimes you need to create more than you need to get paid. But mainly, it's a balance between the two. It's quite frustrating. Van Gogh, he did not Van Gogh, however you want to pronounce it. He only sold one painting in his lifetime, and that was through his Theo, his brother, arranged for it to be sold. And yeah, I don't think he was. I don't think he was. Emily Dickinson also, had a big pile of poems that didn't get sold. Yeah, these people had frustrating lives. They didn't end well. They were frustrated and miserable. So I think it helps if you do pay the artists, because then they won't be frustrated and miserable. And it's not entirely true to say that suffering, maybe a little bit of suffering and life experience helps you to be more artistic, but I'm thinking there's a certain point where you're like, that's enough suffering, I've learned enough, I've got the experience, now give me a happy life. Because you can save up, it's finite, there's only so much suffering that a person can cope with, and you can channel what suffering you've got into your art and say, no more, please. That's enough for me. Why should people pay you? Because why shouldn't they? That's a stupid thing to say, isn't it? Why should people pay you? Why shouldn't they? It's like, well, you pay for other things, don't you? And they're trying to get people to not go into art and only the rich people can go into sort of artistic pursuits these days, because they're trying to encourage, it's not economically viable. But I would argue that yes, it is. And if you don't, a lot of people have said, if nobody has access to any sort of entertainment for a month, then they might have another think about what is important in their life. And people don't like paying anymore, do they? No, they don't. I understand that. I don't like paying for things either. But sometimes you have to balance it, going, for the good of everything, maybe a little bit of money towards the artists might be really good. There are stupid questions, Bohem, but thank you for your input. Yeah, no, there are sometimes. Anyway, I'm just insulting people now. I'm sorry, Bohem. I want to apologise. That was very mean of me. Yes, of course, you are entitled to your opinion, but you should pay your artists. You should pay, anyone that creates and does anything for you, unless they're your friends and family, and then you should respect them and like it anyway. I should have kept trying. I could have been a J.K. Rowling. Well, I don't think she's a very good writer, but she is a rich writer, and I don't think she's a very nice person. But yeah, she's successful, I'll give you that. I could be successful and have no moral heart, no moral compass, to be horrible and terrible, and opinions are, exactly, everyone's got one, Bohem, you're quite like. I don't like J.K. Rowling, I'm sorry. I don't like her writing, I don't like her as a person. She's got some redeeming features. Some of her politics are interesting, and I agree with that. But she's also got other things that I don't like. No. I know that J.K. Rowling is well liked, but yes, she is Danger Otter, I agree with that. I don't know which one of the ones that you're talking about, but the 50 Shades person actually wrote fan fiction and then changed the names. So basically, it's not plagiarism if you've written fan fiction, especially if you change the names, because it's so distanced from the original what she wrote about. And I am not one to diss people that write fan fiction. I have written fan fiction. Twilight, exactly. I have written fan fiction, but it's usually a little bit less vanilla, my fan fiction. I've written loads of fan fiction. You should go looking for it. Some of my early fan fiction, I put my actual email address on it, and somebody said, do you actually want that? Do you want people to know? And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And then as I wrote more, I was like, nah, you're right. Okay, take my name off it. But I think that the original stuff that I wrote, tell you more, no. it was more of a sort of, I've written, I don't, do you get inspired by music? Some music, yeah, but yeah, so I have written tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of fan fiction about lots of, I mean, I haven't written for a long time, but at my peak of writing fan fiction, I was also writing other fiction, and I was trying to get that published, and it never did. I published some of it myself. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you. I saw that on Goodreads somebody had given it a 2-star review. I was like, okay, fine. But that has been almost universally ignored. So, yeah, there's no point. I tried and tried and tried, and then I tried some more, and every time I thought, oh, this is so close to getting my break. And so many times that something that I've done, whether it's acting or writing or some other venue, it's got that close to getting really, I'm like, yes, I'm making it now, isn't it? It's getting there, it's getting there. Chip, chip, chip's just another, bing, 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 like in that Doctor Who episode where keep chipping away and a million years later. But it's like, oh, there's still a million years to go. If you've got a million, billion years, whatever, then that's fine. But who's got a million, billion years? No, so it's not that I've given up. It's just it doesn't work. It's not that I've given up. It's exhausting. It's like, I haven't got time for it at the moment. I haven't got time, really. This is a depressing one, isn't it? Rationalisation, rantalisation, yes, exactly. There's a lot of stuff. There is a lot of dodgy stuff published at the moment. I'm not sure how it gets published. Do I early adopt anything? I don't know. It depends if I get access to it. I think probably only when I was like a journalist and I got free access to things so much. So, but yeah, you can't early adopt things unless you've got the spare cash to early adopt them, you know? It's like, if I've got access to them, yeah, I'm like, yeah, let's use that. I was an early internet adopter, probably. Yeah, not early. Yeah, a TV and film journalist, though, not like a serious journalist, not like a proper journalist. I mean, I worked on local papers, but the journalism that I did was very much sort of consumer product, just features and stuff like that. So when I was working on the local papers, they were very dismissive in the editorial part, in the plot part, in the news desk. Very, very scathing about the features desk. But I like features. Features are good. They're entertaining. I like writing because I interviewed lots of people and I wrote about television. Yeah. So that was fun stuff. And also Pokemon. And I did some stuff for DVD review and Total DVD. Total DVD, that's not Total Film, it was Total DVD. Although we did get taken over by Future. So I think Future was like, why is that knockoff firm got Total DVD magazine when we've got Total Film? And yeah, anyway. H.G. Wells. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for advice. I know, I'm aware. I've written about loads of things. Doesn't make any difference. It doesn't get published. I mean, you can self-publish, but people are still very scathing about that. And I have self-published, but I mean, I've got a lot that I haven't finished or that I haven't published or I haven't let out into the world in self-publishing form because it's like, it's still very much frowned upon. Not as much as it used to be. I mean, there is a way forward, but it's still not legitimate. Not that, I don't know, the bottom fell out of journalism and the bottom fell out of publishing. I mean, magazines. Who buys magazines anymore? I don't know. I can't remember the last time I bought a magazine. Although every time I get a free magazine with the supermarket, I get, oh yes, I'll have that free magazine, please. Don't read it. Just sort of go, oh yeah, that magazine. Forget about it, really. I just love magazines. Don't, from one year to the next, read magazines now. People just don't, do they? People just don't. Radio Times when I go home to visit my parents, but who gets that even anymore? Yeah, so a lot of the things that I was working on, that isn't a thing anymore. But I mean, when I was working in the local papers, there was people that had been trained printers, you know, where they'd set out the typeface and everything with the old fashioned, and that they weren't needed anymore because it had all gone electronic. But the newspaper that I was working on sort of felt sorry for them and kept them on, gave them as much money as they had when they were printers, which was a lot of money because they got a very strong union, but they were working part-time and having to drive the vans to deliver the they were basically just messing about, talking about football, really. They didn't really have much of a job, but they kept them on anyway, and they were like, whoa, we've got a strong union. Unions are good, but they didn't do an awful lot. They got paid an awful lot more than me because of their strong union, like 3 times as much for not doing very much work. Well, there was just 2 of us putting the whole newspaper together and writing all the stuff and being there full time, and we got very much less than these 2 guys that were doing a job, that were still employed from a job with the same money that didn't exist anymore. There's a lot of jobs that don't exist anymore, like travel agent, that doesn't exist anymore. Imagine if you're a travel agent, you're like, yeah, librarian. They really don't employ many librarians anymore. They expect them to be just staffed by volunteers or not at all. I mean, there's only a couple of days a week the librarian's there. That was a respected job back in the day. Magazine journalism, not really a job anymore. Lots of jobs don't exist anymore. Yeah, they'll put us all in Golga Frinchon ships and shoot us into the sun, maybe. Yeah, and then you'll all go because of an improperly sanitised telephone. Telephone engineer. See, who has a landline anymore? I don't. Can't phone anyone. Don't really make phone calls. I've got a phone, but I use it just as a Wi-Fi device. Yeah. Straight into the sun. Yeah. Oh, business cards. Oh, I had business cards. I still got business cards. Oh, look at my business card. Nobody cares. I'm in the digital domain. I am. I tried to get my magazine. I was like, it was when I was working at the magazine, I was trying to get them. I mean, when I was starting to make little videos and stuff, I thought, this will be the future, and I'll get my magazine interested in that, and we'll do stuff online, and we'll do this. And then my magazine said, hey, stop messing about with the internet and films. I was like, but I'm trying to show you the future. I'm trying to get you into the future. I'm trying to make it so that we are. And then they're like, no, go away. And I was like, oh. So I stopped working there, and I went straight to Edinburgh and the internet, and this is what happens now. This is where I am now. This is what becomes of it. To be honest, if I carried on working at the magazine, that whole company folded quite soon afterwards. A lot of people, I mean, they got taken over, and then most of the magazines folded, and most people lost their jobs and had to go elsewhere. So, because nobody buys magazines anymore. So, I probably wouldn't have ended up anywhere different from where I am, unfortunately. My new job, we had a substitute teacher coming in who turned out to be like a famous calypso musician called Del Albert. You can look him up. He played at the Notting Hill Carnival, and he said to me that he believes that everyone's there from. He said I was an asset, and he also said that I'm very good at my job that I do now, and that he invoked a deity, but he said everybody has a purpose in life, and he strongly believes that I'm in the right place. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But that's what he said to me, and I was like, that was very flattering, but I don't feel like I'm in the right place. I feel like I missed a boat somewhere, and I should be somewhere else. I should be like rich and famous. It's like somebody once asked me, you don't really want to be famous, do you? It's like, yes, I want to be famous for doing things, though. I don't want to be like celebrity famous. I want to be famous for the creations that I do, just for me. I want to be properly like respected and feted and stuff like that. Rich is I mean, how rich do you want to be? As long as I had enough money to survive, that would be nice. But, it comes with it, doesn't it? It doesn't really. You can be famous and not at all rich, and rich and not at all famous, but, they sort of go together. I'm going to put space to save the... Oh, yeah, I'm going to space to save the planet. Fair enough. I hope you have a nice time. Yeah, anyway. Oh, and I watched Doctor Who. Doctor Who's good. That's very good. It was a good episode tonight. If you want to go and watch it, go and watch it. Just straight after this. It was worth watching. It's, what was it called? It's, Once Upon a Time? No, Once Upon Time. Not Once Upon a Time. Once Upon Time. I think that's what it was called. Anyway. That's me talking for half an hour. And, I've got indigestion. And, yeah, so it's what? Trade PDFs. People trade PDFs, do they? What? I don't know what's going on in the chat anymore. It was all going whizzing past. Too many people saying things. But thank you for joining me. Anyway, it says there are 4 people here. More than 4 people commented. But yeah, that's me done. Me having another little rant of the week. And the power didn't fail. Yay! And I'll see you again next week. And maybe I'll have something more exciting to talk about. And maybe my ankle will be completely healed by then. It's not too bad now. It's a lot better than it was yesterday. I couldn't even walk yesterday. I was just hobbling about. I was like, I have to go. Everyone's like, you have to go to the doctor about it. I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. But I didn't, because I'd have had to walk there. And that was the problem. I couldn't walk there. And now it seems all right, so I don't need to walk there. I'm hoping. Yeah, it was all sort of swollen still. And because I've got a very bony ankle on this side. And this one was normal looking. Rather than bony, as it should have been. Now it's looking bony, as it should be. My bony ankle looks more bony, instead of like a normal ankle, like it did when it was all swollen up. But I massaged it with my finger to make it all bony again. No, it's perfectly fine. Nearly. Okay, thank you very much, Philip, and hope you have a good. And thank you, Bohems. Thank you, Dangerofter. Thank you, Michelle, if you're still here. Thank you, Fox. Thank you. Who else is here? Old School Gaming. Terry. Thank you. Who else? And have I missed anyone? Terry. I think that's all of you that have commented. Yeah. All right. If I've missed anyone, I'm apologising, but they've all scrolled past really quickly. I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.